obviously we have a very clear parameter given to the agency in terms of what is the minimum prime time ratio we need, which are the top 10, top 15 programs we need to be available on. Because for us, quality matters. We don't even bother too much about the ACD. For example, our ACDs will be one of the highest in the industry or at our category for sure. But we do rely on TV as a media to reach out to the masses and create a sort of a narrative which in a traditional style really works for our brands and the growth, business growth.
Sure. So I'll just stick with you before we lose you again. So I'll just ask a follow-up question. In terms of, you both talked about the quality of, the thing. So what I wanted to understand was, there's the user-generated content which is there across platforms versus the content which is generated on television, which is, professionally developed, professionally shot. So what's your perspective on this? What's the kind of balance that you would want to take? Puneet, you can take this first and then we can come back to
Arjun. Yeah. So I think our approach, Uday, to this has been for every category or every communication that we plan. In the strategy, we have a clear messaging house. And when I say what I mean by messaging house is, we've got clearly allocated messages for each media. So for example, if I'm taking television, I wanted to drive an attitude change, for example, in case of a certain product that I'm trying to advertise. So I will do an attitude change through communication and drive that through communication. While if I have to build ease of cooking, say, for example, paneer, which is a difficult one in South Indian households inside the home. So I will create easy recipes, and therefore all the influencer and cooking and all those recipes will go online or digital. So there I can do 20, 30 recipes, but my narrative of driving attitude change will continue to be driven by what I call as a real game changer media, which is TV. So that's the broad approach that we take, and therefore user-generated content also helps in driving some of these messages, whether it is ease of cooking or if there is a peer-to-peer communication that I need to do. For example, a mom needs to tell a mom that paneer is actually easy to cook in the South Indian household with the masalas that you have available in the kitchen. So I think that kind of a communication we tried and do through influencer, a mom influencer community marketing kind of a thing. But it's always a piece of messaging house and role of media clearly defined. So, and that's very clear in our thinking. That's how we drive it actually.
You want to take this?
Yeah, sure. So I'll keep it quick. The way we see, brand communication or this UGC generated influencer communication, we have broadly two ways of seeing it. One is what is the brand speak and what is the consumer speak. Both are critical. Brand speak is important when you are going to give a particular message, about your brand. What are its USPs, differentiation or distinct, qualities about your product or your service. So obviously that is produced and then comes on expensive media. When it comes to consumer speak, why that is also important, because nowadays with influencers coming, and this whole attitude of consumers also feeling that brands are over promising. So it is important that I am also seeing someone just like me or someone who's a little neutral also talking about the product from his own experience, which we call as consumer speak. So consumer speak, which can be influencers or even customer testimonials, is something that we also do a lot. And also, making brand films or communication is expensive. You can have, depending upon again the industry, you will probably have a, within a season you'll have once, or in a year you'll have 2 or 3 bursts that are happening. But then how do you further amplify that message? So that's when these influencers or digital, channels come in, your customer testimonials come in. So that's the way we try to kind of balance between the two.
Sure. So I think, Kishan, let's get in your perspective here from and you have been earlier in working in an agency and now you moved to the other side, right, the broadcaster side. So I specifically wanted to, and since we are in the South, wanted to specifically talk about and to get your perspective on the impact shows. The impact shows has a huge impact on the southern channels, right? So tell us a bit about, how is it different from other markets, from the HSM market? What works? And I mean, are there any interesting examples of impact shows being taken, which are beyond just regular advertising? Any interesting examples?
Yeah. Hi everyone. Thanks Shankar, Bharat. I've come after 18 years in an agency side. I've come to the broadcast side. I've been around for 2.5 years, and I'm still learning. But television and the faith on television in the first 18 years versus the last 2.5 years has been gone considerably up, because I've now been up close. So television, I strongly believe that is the biggest escape mechanism to the average Indian, right, wherever they are, whether they are in the north or in the south, right? Because you finish a very hard day's work and then you come back and that's your escape route, right? But the regular programming versus the impact, the only difference is that, you go out and eat in a certain good restaurants once in a while you normally every day you eat food at home, right? Which is your regular programming. You have your daily soap and your regular programs and all of that. And the impact is something which is the special treatment that you want to give yourself, right? And that's the kind of, whether it is reality shows, whether it is the premiere of movies or non-fiction and all of that. So in South, and especially I come from a network where there is a huge emphasis on content that works very regionally for all the markets. So for example, the couple of examples that I would like to take is, one is Big Boss. So we do Big Boss in 3 of the 4 South Indian languages, whether it is Telugu, Tamil or Malayalam. And that's one such an impact property which kind of people really look forward to every year. For advertisers and brands, it actually moves both basic top-of-mind measures or even intent-to-purchase measures. So for example, in the last season, after we finished the Tamil and the Malayalam Big Boss, we did a research to find out that Toma actually increased by about 57% on an average for brands, and intent-to-purchase actually moved roughly around 30-33% for brands. Even in a category like personal care, the Toma increased by almost 50%. So, and what it does is it actually connects you with your audience, because it's a show that comes every single day for 100 days with a lot of action around it, right? So it helps you to be far more emotionally connected, because what happens is that finally all purchases are emotional purchases, right? And when you are connected to a show which is far more emotional, then the likelihood that it will convert your brand to purchase is far higher. So that's one example that I wanted to give, which is on Big Boss. And we have had instances, for example, we have had a brand called Atomberg, which partnered with us in last season in Malayalam. And over the last 2 years, because of the association with such impact properties, they have been able to become the #1 player in Kerala in their category. And these are all things which really kind of helps you. The other show that I would like to give an example is a reality show called Star Singer, which is a music reality show which is in the 9th season in Kerala. And one of our lead sponsors was a regional, actually local brand called QT, which is a beauty soap brand, right? Now imagine that's a category, and I worked on brands like Wipro and all of that in my erstwhile days, and I know soap is a really hard fought category in Kerala. And QT, the beauty soap, is currently the biggest, the largest brand when it comes to rural Kerala, and it almost has a share which is much bigger than Unilever, ITC, Wipro, that behemoths who are playing in that category. So, and purely because they have been associating with the impact shows. So, there is a lot of merit that comes because there is a larger emotional connect and engagement on these shows. So I'll take this to you, Sharath, in terms of, so it's always said that attention levels in a linear television is far more higher, and which is what he's been also saying from an impact perspective. So what's your point? What's your take on this?
It's perfectly agree with him. As far as building material industry is concerned, when I was with ARS, we did we had as everybody know, TV is a high consuming budget. Okay. So what we did a short impact campaign. Okay. We did it with Sun TV on Sunday evening movie show. We blocked that entire thing and we linked that to a digital platform. We ran a contest. It's just 3-day activity. Okay, we spent only 3 days ka money. Okay, we had a budget constraint that this is just post-COVID. Okay, so what happened? We linked that the contest to a digital platform where we during the there was a small question from the ad. We will tell you watch this ad on this particular program, and you will win diamonds. Diamonds was the campaign. So we launched 5TD grade. So D is related to diamonds. So to hit the minds of the end users, what we thought we should run a different campaign. In which media we thought, okay, TV will have a bigger reach. Obviously, it did well. We got close to 1 lakh entries from the same family. 4 people will be contesting. We shortlisted that also. So quality, close to 1.5 lakhs was the entry, and the impact was 1 lakh people genuinely watched that film. Okay, so we were able to track that activity also. So we didn't rely on back numbers. We experimented it in TV, and we got a good results.
Great. So I'll continue with this thing in terms of evaluating the effectiveness of the TV campaign, and I think you've given one example. So Puneet, how do you, from your perspective, evaluate that? And I'll throw that same question to you also, Ajay, after Puneet answers. In terms of from your perspective, Puneet, how do you evaluate the TV campaigns?
So we look at the full range of measures and metrics which are available, right from the brand health tracks. So health tracks help us to understand the improvement in awareness levels, whether this top of mind has gone up, trials have gone up, or retainership has gone up. So some of those things we understand from there. The second thing we do is we track the measures which we are driving. So suppose if we are driving a particular measure, and those 3-4 key measures which are more attitudinal in the nature, we try and see the score movement on them. That's the second thing. So that's purely creative and media kind of a judgment. But beyond that, I think business doesn't end there, and therefore comes the measures like market share delta. So what is the market share delta pre, during, and post? I think that's the way we evaluate. And lastly, of course, sales. So sales impact. While it is very difficult to attribute 100% of that to a particular campaign, but still, when you see it in a combination of all these factors, you'll be able to take a judgment. Okay, if there is some impact or not, and at least you'll understand if there is a thing which was missing from the execution piece on the ground, which we can pick up the next time we do a campaign. So these learnings actually share very collaboratively with our team, whether it's a sales team or the trade marketing team, and we build a narrative, and we build the entire picture, which is clear to all of us that it has worked or not worked, and what can be done to improve further. I think that's the way we operate, Uday.
Sure, thanks. Ajay.
So from a media standpoint, there are 2 metrics which can be done. One is obviously the traditional metric, which is basically your GRP, reach, and CPRP for your so-called ROI metrics. The other one is your business metric, which Mohit just said in terms of market share, sales, and customer acquisition. See, most of the categories, it is a blend of, say, 70-30 ratio when it comes to traditional versus business metrics. But there are certain categories which give more weightages to your business metric. Like, there are clients like in our own system like Apple and say Acco, which give more weightages to your business metric, which is basically client acquisition and stuff like that. So here comes that whole discussion of quality versus quantity. So, but this is generally the 2 metrics that we usually evaluate. And
sure, great. So what I wanted to ask you, because you have a hell lot of data, right? Considering you are ultimately you have the users coming into your platform, so you are able to kind of collect a lot of data, right? A lot of digital signals are able. So is there a way where you are able to kind of also link, the data that is available with you with the performance of television? Is there something you do?
Yeah. So we do that. So specifically when it comes to TV, since we are a digital platform, so what we do is whenever we are running any campaigns, and especially if we are running impact campaigns, what we try to see is if there is a particular time band in which we have run an impact campaign. Say for example, we are running Big Boss, and on the weekend we have an integration. We do integrations at certain times also. So during that day, once the program went live, after that for the next 6 hours, was there an uptick in our app installs? Were there installs which were increasing, and what was the quality of those installs? So we are able to check that, And when you start plotting this data over days, weeks, months, quarters, and you start doing a regression on them, you're very easily able to see which channels, which particular days, which genres, which programs work well for you, and then you're able to isolate them and start refining on your TV media plans. Otherwise, there is no specific way to do it, just the way you will do digital. But TV, that's the way we generally try to do. Yeah.
Great. So, Puneet, just moving on, there's always a pre-pandemic time and there's a post-pandemic time, right? Everything kind of, our entire lives changed. So, from your perspective, and if we look at it from a television perspective, has there been a change in the way you are approaching television advertising? Has there been a change in, the kind of the viewers and your consumers' patterns? What have you seen a difference, or you feel it's all back to normal, back to pre-pandemic times?
And it's a great question actually, and difficult to answer at that as well. What we have seen is that for TV, I think the habit is back to pretty much where it was. Though when you look at all the data which is available, it also kind of points to the fact that viewership is shifting from TV and overall GRPs on the networks is going down on a sustained basis to more online medium, whether it is OTT, whether it is OLVs or digital, Facebooks and YouTubes of the world. So there is a shift in the media, and I think that is where we see a lot more. Even the investment wise, if you see overall, the investments for digital is going up on a sustained basis, and the number of hours spent on phone or online versus on TV is also kind of getting skewed. Having said that, like I said, despite all that, the prime time of TV and the key GEC continues to be a property which is worth, trying out and giving a shot at, because that gives you the maximum reach and, like I said, a very attentive audience, because they're coming through appointment viewership. The pitfall of some of these medium, the other digital medium and online medium, is that, and this I'm just doing a comparison so that we get a sense of where TV still holds its own. The OTT platform or the online platforms, the challenge there is I cannot target that specifically. For example, in a TV plan, I can have top 10 programs, top 15 programs of my choice, right? While in case of an OTT or a OLV plan, I'm struggling to get that, right? It is not appointment viewership. So, and if I'm going for a program sponsorship like a KBC or Big Boss, then anyways it is pretty similar to what I'm doing on TV. So costs are not very different. So I think overall there is still a skew of advantage towards TV. But over the next 3-4 years, you may just see that it is coming on parity or kind of starting to reduce. I think that's where it might be heading in a way, Uday.
Great, thanks. I can see Shankar standing there. I told him not to ring the bell, so just a couple of minutes more. But, so Arjun, I just wanted to come back to you on the fact, while Puneet talked about this, how the changes have happened post-pandemic. Also, the other shift is in the what we call the generation alpha, right? I mean, the youngsters, the digitally savvy audiences. So, how do you, as far and that's also a segment that you also target, right? As they grow older, that's the future segment for you, right? So, how do you kind of fine tune your TV strategies to kind of reach out to this audience, which is digitally most savvy? And I will come back to you, Kishan, on this from a television broadcaster perspective.
Okay, so there are two parts to this. One is, in terms of what they believe in and what they don't believe in. So that is, that is being solved by the communication that we are looking at. But when it comes to mediums, I think the younger generation which is coming, they are into a lot more into experience. They don't like to be given too much of advocacy. So they can very easily spot something which is over the top or sounding fake. Unlike when we were younger and we were more amenable to any kind of inspiration that came. Today's generation does not get swayed that easily. So for us, obviously digital is very critical, and influencer marketing, content which is much more relevant for the Gen Z audience, which is more relevant for us right now, works. When it comes to TV, what we are seeing nowadays is that generic ads really don't work. While we continue to do that to build reach and awareness, but whenever we do something which is a little bit more integrated into the content that is coming out, so which is more than just just sponsoring or just impact, if we are integrating into the shows, that sounds more authentic and real, and that captures attention better. In my view, that we have seen that work better. But obviously, you also need bandwidth to do that. There is how much that you can do, right, over there, unlike just placing spots in your channel. So yeah, but that's the way to go, to have meaningful integrations.
So it's a very, very important and very valid question, right? Because from my limited understanding, television, and especially the genre that I represent, which is general entertainment, by definition it is general. So it has to appeal to all kinds of audiences, right? So that's the challenge that as a broadcaster I face. But I think the fundamental of content creation doesn't change, because the fundamental of content creation is always deep rooted in how your content reflects human truth, right? How is your content mirroring what is the reality of the society? So if you do that, then it is easy for you to make those shifts and changes in relation to the audience that you are. So for example, in our broadcast, in my business, there are 4 content pillars, right? There is fiction, which is everyday content that goes out to people. There is non-fiction, which is reality, game shows and all of that. There are movies, and then there is events and all of these things, right? In each of these, we try to bring the new age consumers' point of views and realities there, right? For example, when you're making fiction, for example, we run 12 daily shows, right? 8 of the shows, heroines are less than 24, 25 years old. Now, when we do that, we do extensive research to understand what are their attitudes and all that, about life, about marriage, about work, about education and all of that. And we try to bring that through instances and storylines and all of that, so that we are closer to them, right? It is always a work in progress, right? In non-fiction, for example, when we make shows like Big Boss and all of that, we try to ensure that we represent them. So for example, in the weekend episodes, when Mr. Mohanlal comes and does the weekend episodes, we ensure that we listen to social media, we get comments from them, and we bring it back onto the show so that they feel represented. They feel like, okay, my reality is happening, and it's been brought back to, right? Even in case of new formats, so we have to be always inventing, keeping the business in mind. We can, any large disruption is also not easy, right? So we kind of make those kind of disruptions. When we buy movies, we ensure that we do a mix of older audience liking movies versus also, for example, we purchased a movie called Vara, which is a smash hit among younger audiences, 15-year-old, 18-year-old, 20-year-olds. So we have a certain percentage of such movies every year, so that we know that such audiences come back to the channel. And so that's the only way we can do that. And it's always a work in progress. It is, you keep doing it again and again, and then you learn, right? So that's the way you kind of do. And even in events, when you do large shows and all of that, for example, we ensure that there is a large amount of digital, like my recent show, which is the music reality show, the anchor is one of the biggest digital influencer. So by bringing her on board as the anchor of the television show, you are kind of combining both the universes, right? And the language that she speaks is more in line with what they want to hear and things like that. So you keep doing these bits and pieces, learn, and then you kind of keep consolidating that. That's the way you do it. But not easy. Very, very, and if somebody says that, we can do it, it is rough. It is really, really tough, because your core audience is always older. You cannot alienate them. So it's always this balancing act that you do. And hope that it works.
Yeah, you're right. So I think the balancing act, as you said, and to kind of continuously adapt to the audience changes is, I think that's the future for television. I don't think we have time beyond this. So thanks a lot for being such a great co-panelist, and thank you.
Thanks, Uday. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, moderator and the panelists. Now I request Mr. Deepak Karnani, founder, Study One Media Private Limited, to please come onto the stage to give away the memento to moderator and panelist. Yes. So, yes, we'll have a group photo session.
I'd like to start by congratulating Shankar and Fourth Dimension Media for hosting yet another.
Thank you, everyone, and may I request Mr. Deepak Karnani to please stay back on the stage as you are the moderator of the next panel discussion. Okay, so before that, it's a time to watch a video.
I'd like to start by congratulating Shankar and Fourth Dimension Media for hosting yet another session of the South India Media Summit, this time in Kochi. It's the 5th edition, and I feel proud to have been associated with it in some small way over the years, with each edition. In fact, I remember about 4 years back, I was in Chennai for, I think, the inaugural or the 2nd edition. And I have seen this grow. Not just that, I have seen Shankar's role as an ambassador and evangelist of the South India media fraternity grow over the years. I'm extremely proud of it. Not only has he done that, but as a member of the News Broadcasting Federation, as a vice president at a national level of the News Broadcasting Federation, Shankar has emerged as a very critical voice for all issues regarding the news industry. I look forward to joining a session in the future. I'm presently traveling out of the country and hence could not make it. I would also like to say that we at the Republic Media Network are very proud of our association with Fourth Dimension Media. Fourth Dimension Media has been representing the Republic Media Network as partners and compatriots for many years now, and we have strengthened our relationship even more in the last couple of years. So I look forward to working with a lot of people for Shankar to represent us at all platforms, commercially and otherwise. And it's been a wonderful experience working with Fourth Dimension Media. And I congratulate everybody for being part of the wonderful forum. And I have no doubt that the media in the southern part of the country will grow leaps and bounds. We have played a small role by launching Republic Kannada, which completed a year this month. And we look forward to growing more in the southern parts of the country. in various languages and geographies, not just as a network, but as a collective of media groups. So Shankar, congratulations, and I look forward to meeting you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Now let's move on to the next panel discussion. It's about influence of technology in advertising. And for this, let's invite the moderator, Mr. Deepak Karnani, founder, Sirivan Media Private Limited. Let's invite him with a big round of applause. With over 20 years, so please take the seat. With over 20 years of experience in the media and entertainment industry, and under his leadership, Sirivan Media has revolutionized regional content creation. His expertise spans television, digital media, and marketing. Mr. Deepak Karnani's vision for the future of media will undoubtedly inspire our attendees. Now, let's invite the panelists to join, along with Mr. Deepak. Mr. Gaurav Seth, founder. Mr. Gaurav Seth, head, Pivot Consult, Pivot Roots. Yeah. Mr. Gandhar Sachdeva, country head, India, hybrid. Ms. Pooja Srivastava, head, digital initiatives, Chrome TM. Yes, let's invite all of them onto the dais with big round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and I'm cognizant of the fact that this is amongst the last panels, so we'll try and keep it a little interesting and probably short as well, because I'm sure a lot of you have flights to catch. It's an interesting topic that we have today, and if you look at it, today technology and media are not just intersecting, but they're merging in a way that none of us could have ever imagined in the past. And with this dynamic group of panelists, we hope that we can touch upon certain opportunities and challenges that tech in media brings upon. I'd like to start with a quick introduction of the panelists. If you could just introduce yourselves and before we dive into the question.
Sure. Thank you so much, Deepak. So I'm Gandhar Sachdeva. I'm the country head India for hybrid AI, and we have our own DSP in the market, and we also do in-image advertising, wherein we work with a lot of big agencies and clients, and we do a lot of innovative stuff in the programmatic sector and contextually as well.
Hi, I am Pooja, currently head digital initiatives at Chrome Data Analytics and Media. So earlier to this panel, I think we were asked about some OTT measurements. So yes, Chrome DM is into OTT measurements and giving digital video consumption trends to brands and broadcasters. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. I'm Gaurav Seth. I lead Pivot Consult, a vast company. Pivot Consult is a marketing and technology consultancy.
Gaurav, I'd like to start with you because you represent the agency ecosystem in a way out here. And if you look at the emergence of technology, there's been a huge shift in the media buying and planning patterns. How do you see that has impacted the way agencies kind of work and the offerings that they promote or offer to their advertising clients?
Right. So, if you see, the internet or the mainstream internet has been around for 30 years. Although internet has been there since the last 50 years, but mainstream it's been there for the last 30 years, and programmatic advertising has probably come in 2008, 2009. So about 25 odd years. And then of course the smartphone was launched in 2008, the Apple smartphone, and that's when the consumption of internet exploded. And that's of course where the eyeballs are, that's where advertising technologies are. So ad servers started coming in, and then other marketing technologies started coming in. So apart from the complexity of technologies that we speak of, if you see brands, marketeers, they are probably in their third or fourth cycle, if you consider each cycle to be 5 years, of using these technologies. And one of the challenges that they face is redundancy. Another challenge that they face is overlapping technologies. So the most important role of an agency, because the agency has the benefit of working with hundreds of, if not thousands of marketeers, is is that they should be able to build their marketing stack or their advertising stack. So that's number one. Second, they should be helping them implement it so that they are driving value from it. And third, they should be able to sustain it so that brands see incremental value in using these technologies.
So, taking on from your incremental value, we also have a huge kind of talk about the ecosystem of connected TV, which is emerging, right? But I represent my company represents free SSP in India, and whenever we talk about connected television, we have two questions that come up. One is that A, does it have scale, and B, how do we measure the impact of a campaign on the run on the connected TV universe? And I think Pooja's company does a lot of research around that, and even in the OTT space. So Pooja, if you could guide us on how best can a marketer, measure the impact, or an agency measure the impact of campaigns run on connected TV devices.
Sure. So thank you. And I think earlier to this panel where everybody was discussing television will go stronger and stronger, and everybody had their view about it. We, as a market research agency, we have collated a lot of ground data, and the point that I think the discussion is usually around whether television will survive or digital will survive. But the ground data is very simple. Both will survive. It's just for now, we'll have a lot of overlap audiences. And this is what our data also says, that probably, in the older age when we used to say that the television was there, but there was a lot of, I think there were appointment viewing was there for probably more than 6 hours, 7 hours. Right now it has reduced to half an hour, maybe 1 hour, 2 hours. And the rest of the hours shifted to digital. And according to our data, 69 million households have got connected to CTV, that is connected television. So just as a layman, like what is CTV? So whatever television set that is connected from internet is being called a connected TV. And so probably you may not be watching your television, even if you have cable. And if we specifically talk about South, it has got a large chunk, large part of households are still into pay TV. However, they are also consuming CTV as part of probably just viewing a movie on Netflix or Amazon Prime Video, mostly behind a paywall. But soon we see a trend that they would also shift to CTV. So I guess if we see the digital trends, I think we should not talk in silos, and whenever we are connecting to a user, we should not talk in silos. We should talk about more of overlapping audiences. And there I think hyper-personalization, advertising, creativity, all of those come in. So yes, over to you.
So Gandharv, in addition to that question, there is one of the ways in which advertisers are using CTV is to give incremental reach. Right. And I know your platform is also offering certain solutions which advertisers can use at the DSP level. So maybe if you could share more about how advertisers can get best out of the CTV ecosystem. So, as it stands today.
Yeah, so what we've seen in the past is that there's been a lot of OTT consumption which was happening, and suddenly the trends came into wherein CTV came into place, and when we go to meet up our clients, agencies, they're like, we need CTV is something that has been required. So we as a DSP platform that we have our own, so we got connected to a lot of SSPs, and through those SSPs, yes, the inventory is available programmatically. But yes, at this point of time, the inventory is being still held by the organizations themselves, and they're doing a direct deal and everything. That's something which is happening. So having said that, in some time, as she mentioned, that 69% is now on the connected TV. The growth that we look at, I would say that if you look at a normal publisher, a digital publisher, Times of India, they've got a direct sales team. They have a non-direct sales team as well. And they're working, they are still not able to consume the 100% inventory over there. So once this inventory grows, at that point of time, Programmatic is the platform wherein we can actually reach the right audience at the right time. Right. So like we have a product which is like TV Sync. So we work on the IP and the linear TVs over there, wherein at the time the ad is being consumed on the television, say 7 p.m., a television ad. At the same time, within a fraction of 3 seconds, we can show the same ad on the mobile targeting the right user that you actually want to do. So these technologies are ready, they're ready to go, but yes, the inventory is something which has been required.
I'm glad you touched upon the programmatic ecosystem as well, because when you talk about technology in media, I think this is one tech that is kind of, that we've been hearing about since, I think, 2008-10 at least in India, maybe earlier in the West. Do you think that with the programmatic ecosystem coming in, you know, so many terms, there's a DSP, there is an SSP, there's an ad exchange, then there is brand safety parameters, so on and so forth. Do you think it has, in a way, made advertising more complex, or do you think that, you know, the goal, of course, was to make it simpler?
Yes, it's made it much more simpler, because earlier what used to happen was, when I started my career and I was there, I was into sales, I was going ahead and selling the normal display ads. It was just the normal display ads that you sell, and you come back and do a normal CPM and you show the ad on a Times of India or an X website or a Y website. But with programmatic coming into place, the clients are now letting to know that the audience that they're looking at. So it's making life simpler for them. Yes, it's under the brand safety. The brand safety tools are all implemented. Everything is done. So that is helping them in a very easy manner to manage their campaigns and to understand that, yes, where they are and what they're actually doing. Right. Having said that, sometimes programmatic campaigns, the client comes up and says, I cannot see the ad. Where is the ad? That's a very common, that I cannot see the ad. But they, at the end, they know the ecosystem that they're running on. So it's a pressure that comes onto a DSP company, and then they cannot see the ad, but the ad has been shown, and someone somewhere has seen the ad with which they are also happy. So it's programmatic cannot be, I would say, doing a roadblock kind of a thing. But yes, it's a sustenance. It's helping in sustaining the campaign for any clients. That's what.
So, Gaurav, how do you advise your clients, and how do you advise them in navigating this entire ecosystem? Because what we see at our end is there are, you know, a couple of platforms which dominate these spends, and it's fairly difficult to move advertisers beyond these platforms, right? For example, PG deals dominate programmatic buys, but as Gandharv was hinting as well, the unsold inventory which goes into open auction, as that increases, that's true programmatic. So what do you, as the brand custodians in the agency ecosystem, advise your clients when it comes to programmatic ecosystem?
I mean, it's all driven by demand, obviously. So, but yes, see, we have to be agnostic, and we have to look at the best interests of the clients. So being an agency, it exposes us to different platforms, and, you know, it allows us to understand their strengths. So, you know, depending on what the strength of a specific platform is, and the good thing about, you know, the programmatic ecosystem is that it's not monopolistic or duopolistic, like, you know, search maybe for Google. You know, there are companies, a lot of innovative companies that are there that have certain specific capabilities that are unique to their platforms. So our endeavor is to ensure that, you know, we expose all the different options that are available to our marketers and advise them, and then take it from there.
But in doing that, wouldn't you kind of, one of the challenges, of course, you know, why there are certain DSPs who get more business than the others is that you lose out on the fact of delivering unified reach, which is one of the promises of programmatic advertising. Is there a way in which we can address that as well? Because I'm sure Gandharv has a great product, but I'm fairly sure that there are a lot of challenges that he faces when it comes to media agencies in terms of adoption. So maybe you can also share about your challenges, and we have somebody who can help us advise on how to overcome those challenges.
I mean, see that, I mean, there is a good answer and then there is a real answer to this. So the real answer is that walled gardens will make it more and more difficult, actually. But you know, creating a one view of customer is the holy grail.
Correct.
So
do you think we're moving in that direction? Are there any interoperable kind of solutions that are on the radar which you feel can address this challenge in the future?
So it depends on what identifiers are used. So, you know, cookies, there is an inherent problem because you can only read your own domain's cookies. But with other identifiers, it's easier to create a one view. So if we are able to, you know, gather that, but then again, you know, programmatic advertising essentially relies on cookies and device IDs. These are the two. So cookies, for everyone's reference, is the unique identifier on the browser and device IDs on the applications. This is mostly how we consume the internet. So maybe in the post acquisition world, where you've already acquired the customer and you are engaging with them on your own channels, like sending notifications and emails and all, there it's more feasible. In the pre-customer acquisition world of cookies and device IDs, it's slightly more challenging.
Right. Gandharv, you have anything to add to
No,
any of the challenges?
he's actually said it all.
Yeah.
This discussion has given me a lot of inspiration to create one.
There's a lot of money to be made if we can crack this.
But definitely, I think as far as advertising is concerned, it specifically leads, on brand or a particular category that you are dealing with. So in that sense, a lot of more parameters that can be added. Like he said, this just one unique identifiers. But what if there is a tool which can actually make sure that you are the right user for it. So I am somebody who watches, say, for Turkish drama. So probably I want to eat Turkish Delight more, and there is one brand that serves Turkish Delight and throws me that particular ad. I might buy it. So I'm just so just saying, probably not the right inference, but just for, making the fact that probably more and more parameters can make the advertising, the programmatic advertising more simpler.
Right. I think what you're suggesting is also that contextual advertising is something that we can.
So for that, what you mentioned, we already have a tool in place for that. It's something which is known as Vox. We do in-image advertising, wherein our tool would actually scan the complete article and the image and detect what is needed in the image, and accordingly it will show the ad on the editorial image of the article. Wherein, like we're doing these campaigns for Himalaya, wherein it says that, okay, fine, if it's a lip balm, whether the image is relevant to see the ad or it is not, and the article is, then contextually we scan it and then we go ahead and show the ads. So the tools are there in the market. It's just that the marketers and the clients are still trying to understand that how best they can use these tools too.
So that's a great insight. And I mean, in these tools, again, do you see challenges of brand safety or contextual relevance coming in place? Like, how does your
So
AI read
we as
the
a company,
context?
we have our own internal brand safety and tools implemented where we do not face any problems. We just have to tick mark which are the negative keywords that cannot be taken care of, and we run these campaigns. That's not such a problem at all. Because when you implement in such AI tools and all, you have to take care of the brand safety.
Right.
The client is much more involved, and they would like that the negative articles should not have these ad connotations.
Right. So, I mean, we spoke a lot about various pieces of technology. You have AI, you have, contextual advertising. And what we've seen largely is over the past, decade or so, advertising moved from being creative-led, more data-led. I mean, I'll ask you all a question. When was the last time you saw a banner ad and went, wow? Right. So do you think that creativity is taking a backseat? And if so, do you as agencies and as, platform partners, as somebody who conducts post-campaign studies, do you also focus on the creative element of technology?
So, technology will help you get to the right user. It will help you probably get to the right media at the right time of day, at the right place. But ultimately, what the user consumes is the content of the advertisement,
right,
which is the creative, right? So the creative will always be the rock star there in this entire thing. But
give
then
me an example of a good creative use.
but let me complete. But when everything goes wrong, okay, the first to be blamed is the technology because it's quantifiable, right? But to answer your question, I personally feel that the call to action or the content of that creative is the most important thing because that is what is creating that impact. If you are if you are not able to pass on the right message or the intended message, then it's kind of lost.
Right.
But obviously technology is also important so that you're not showing a diaper ad to an 18-year-old. So that's where targeting helps you. But yes, creative is important, is equally important, if not more important.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, when you say, even as a data researcher, we give a lot of weightage to serendipity. So it's not like that we, as a researcher, just data driven, but definitely creativity plays a major role where attention comes in that we measure. So how much attention span or how, perception of that particular ad is in terms of recall and awareness. So that is also part of data itself.
Right.
But yes, I think creativity is prime, I would say a factor of reaching out to the audience.
Do you see clients kind of giving weightage to your suggestions on creative, or again, Gaurav, maybe better place to answer, is attention score bigger than CPMs?
I think it's a everlasting debate. So we can go on forever.
I mean, see, it also depends on how you measure success, right? So every brand has their own objective, but yes, of course, there is standardization there as well. But yeah, I mean, I think it's different for every brand. So CPGs are more concerned about whether you're reaching the right audience, because India being like more male heavy in their distribution of gender, and CPGs having women oriented products. So it depends on what your use case is.
So I think pre-campaign it would be CPMs, post-campaign it would be attention score.
Absolutely. So
depends on the phase of the planning and execution as well.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, you're talking about, Gaurav, that you have technology to do in image ads and stuff. A trend that we are seeing in OTTs as well as publishers, for example, New York Times going behind a paywall, Hindu going behind a paywall, certain other publishers in India going behind a paywall. Today we are a supply surplus market. Supply far outstrips the demand, in terms of ad inventory that's available in the digital ecosystem. But do you foresee a future where good supply would be a constraint in India ever?
No, in India not. Yes, if you go to a New York Times or a Wash Post, then definitely there will be. But in India, still there's a lot of right audience which is available and which is not behind the paywall, and it is still there. If you want to go to the extra premium ones, then yes, it's Reuters, Forbes, NYT, Wash Post that you go to. But otherwise, the normal Indian scenario, the Indian publishers, even if it's behind the paywall, yes, they are outside the paywall as well. So we would not face this problem at all.
Here the creativity comes in. You can change ad formats in terms of how you can penetrate to the audiences who are behind paywall. So probably their advertising agencies can come up with some unique ideas like PUBG and all the gaming platforms have come in. So and they've I think successfully publicizing the brand. So
right, but again probably those would come with their own challenges. I'll just wait for Gaurav to answer.
So see, like, ultimately a publisher wants the maximum bang for its impression, right? That's what they want, whether it's behind a paywall or whether it's advertising led. So where there is a lot of demand, you will probably, paywalls are like SaaS services. It's easy to get in but very difficult to get out. So you want people to subscribe to your content. But ultimately, even if there is supply constraint for some types of media, or some types of content, programmatic advertising allows you to take remnant inventory and layer it with data,
right,
and make it more premium and more valuable. So I feel, and then as he said, that in India 600 million internet users, there's a lot of supply anyway.
Right.
So I don't see that happening very soon, but yeah, data and programmatic allows you to solve for that as well.
But in the premium OTT space, maybe,
yeah,
because
absolutely,
that's a challenge. They're
yeah.
not being able to monetize as much, and
because consumption is so much,
ecosystem.
right? I mean, we are constantly seeing reels. So content, at one point of time, content creators were like having a hard time, being heard actually by production houses. But now the trend is completely reversed. I mean, looking at the diversity, even like regional content is so much in demand.
Right.
Like, there isn't enough content there right now to be consumed.
Right. So before the second bell goes out,
Okay.
we can conclude, and maybe if you would just like to share any closing statements or a piece of tech that you feel that we should watch out for, whether it's yours or whether it's something that you've seen, and some sort of Pooja, from your perspective, some sort of measurement analytics that advertisers need to put as well. So maybe we can conclude it with one statement from each of you.
I feel, it's the time to take a top-down approach with regards to technology. At least, like it shouldn't be that we are using data and systems to drive business use cases. It should be the other way around. That business use cases should drive the adoption of technology and data. So yeah.
Yeah, so as far as data consumption, as far as data is concerned, I think we need to look more from user perspective where the video consumption is happening and should not look any one medium as silo. So right. And look at overlaps probably how digital and television are both, giving the, reach in a unique manner. So yes, and we do measure that, so yes. I think that's important.
You feel that we have the option of watching the same content digitally or on linear TV. Do you think the audiences are also fairly different? Like different people are watching the same kind of content as well?
Absolutely. So I think the archaic way of segregating the audience is also something that I personally challenge the advertisers to not look at that. Because right now, 14-year-old might not be different from 30-year-old. The kind of data that they are consuming, the content they are consuming probably is the same. So probably we can go beyond age, gender, and the old archaic, form of bifurcations, and can look more from the persona, more towards the personal, factors that may, look at. So we are just defending that, advocating on that, but yes. I think data can give you a lot of insights, yes.
So I would just like to mention that yes, data is very important, and but according to that, creativity is much more important. So as we were just talking about, if we do not have good creatives and we just have the data, the campaigns can go for a toss. So because the engagement, earlier it was just that we were looking at the click-through ratios, now we're looking at the engagement as well. So if it's a good engaging campaign, then yes, it's something we win the battle. Otherwise, we do not.
Perfect. So great to hear from all of you. I think we can open up for questions if you have time, or we can conclude it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. And before you leave, I would like to invite Mr. Amar Najkur from Hire to please come onto the stage to give away the mementos to the moderator and panelist. Yes. Please pause for a group photo. Thank you so much. Kindly get back to your seats. And now, dear ladies and gentlemen, we are moving on to the last and final panel discussion of South India Media Summit Season 5, presented by Reporter TV and powered by The Hindu. And the last discussion is about sports and experimental marketing. And for this, let's invite the moderator and panelists onto the dais. As moderator, we have Mr. Sony V. Matthew. He's the Vice President and Head of Branding and Communications at ISAF Small Finance Bank. Let's invite Mr. Sony V. Matthew with a big round of applause onto the dais. With over 15 years of experience in marketing and communications, Mr. Matthew brings expertise in brand strategy, digital marketing, and social media, corporate communications, and PR. And now, let's invite the panelists onto the dais to join him. Akriti Tyagi, Director, Marketing, HarperCollins Publishers India. Mr. Kiran James, Chief Marketing Consultant, Muthoot Matthew Group. Mr. Kurian, Director, Marketing and Admin, Vigaland Homes. And Mr. R. Venkata Subramanian, COO, Havas Play, India. Yes, once again, welcoming you all onto the dais, and now the stage is yours. This is the final panel discussion of the day. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Yeah, this is, yeah. Good evening, all. This is the final panel discussion, and I think sportsman experiential marketing is a very interesting topic, especially for the sports aficionados. And Kiran James couldn't join us because of some illness, and I hope we will be having some good interactive session. So we have with us Mr. Venkat, Kurian, and Akriti. They were all introduced in the beginning, and my first question is to Venkat. Okay. This is related to sports, and when it comes to sports endorsements, brand endorsements, most of the topics are revolving around cricket and cricket's two superstars. My first question is, how non-cricketing brand ambassadors are faring now in the industry? Do you think that they are in for a long haul?
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. It's not like that. What you are saying, only cricketers are getting brand endorsement. That is changing now. Okay. For example, Neeraj Chopra or Sindhu, the recent Manbaka. All three they got somewhere around 25 plus brands endorsement now. Okay. Especially if you can see all the top brands. It's not the small brands from Visa, Coke, Thumbs Up, Samsung, Century, Mattresses, Eveready, Britannia, you name all the top brands, these guys are signed. Especially Neeraj Chopra, if you're talking about today, his demand is 4.5 crore, 4 to 4.5 crore, like cricketer, okay? Any cricketer also asking something, the brand endorsement for that level. PV Sindhu, she is right now into 1 to 2 crore, okay? Manu Bhaker, before Olympic, Kajaria, which was signed for 8 lakhs. Today, she's like 1.25 crore to 1.5 crore. So the things are moving. Things are changing right now. It's not these three, athletes I'm talking about. If you can talk about Sumit Nagal, is a tennis player, right? Like Asics shoes, they have signed Sumit Nagal for their brand. Sunil Chetri, Skechers, they have signed Sunil Chetri as a footballer. They are signed on this. Plus, if you are talking about Bisleri, they start talking about Manpreet Singh, he's a hockey player, right? And Ashwin Ponnappa is a badminton player. Bisleri is signed on those brand endorsement. Plus, if you are talking about DS, bank, what they have done very interestingly, they have not signed only one player. They have signed 5 badminton players, right? From Chirag to Lakshya to Swati, Satak. And they have signed all the 5 badminton players they have signed. So now the things are changing. But anyway, the one thing is you can't compare with cricket. Cricket is, in India, cricket is religious, right? So you can't compare with cricket. But at the same time, non-athletic, athletes also started getting endorsement right now.
Great, Venkat. Some great concept we have heard. But, my question is, could you please suggest, one brand ambassador who has changed the fortunes of one particular brand. One non-cricketing brand ambassador who has changed the fortunes of a non-cricket.
See,
a brand.
I'll tell you, possibly I can take Century mattresses. It's not a brand should have, like, they have signed PV Sindhu. Okay. Mattresses you buy once in 10 years, once in 15 years, right? When Century mattresses signed PV Sindhu, after the campaign of 3 months' time, the sales has gone up by 17%. Okay. See, mattresses, PV Sindhu, the sales has gone up by 17%. At the same time, Neeraj Chopra is a Limca, they have signed the sports drinks when they have signed. Like within 3 months, the sales have gone up by 15%. It's not only cricketer can do the magic, and non-cricket athletes also done this.
15% over a period of 1 year?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's very interesting to hear about the DBS idea of onboarding 5 brand ambassadors together.
That's right.
But, is it here for a long time? Because is it a long time strategy? Because, as the players grow in stature, they are likely to charge a hefty fee, right? So, will it be viable for the brand? Right?
See, when any brand to sign any brand ambassador, especially athletes, they'll have to sign for the longer period. Okay, there is no need. If they are signing for 1 year, it won't work for the brand only. It's a waste of money for them. So when DBS signed these 5 badminton players, they signed for the longer period. That's the reason everyone remembers the brand recall, right? It's not all about putting a commercial. Okay, the way they amplified all the players, right? Whenever basically BWF, it's a badminton world federation. They organize a badminton tournament throughout the years. Okay, the players go and play everywhere. Whenever they are playing, they always celebrate the winning moments, and at the same time they put a communication also. They keep on putting it. That's the reason that all the 5 players, not no short-term period they signed a longer period. Not only for this brand, any brand wanted to sign any any athletes, they'll have to sign for the longer period. Yes, they'll have to take a risk. The performance varies because brand should understand. It's not that each and every player can keep on performing, right?
Yeah,
so they'll have to understand. Yeah, definitely they'll have to sign for the longer period to build the brand.
So long period means 3 to 5 years? Or?
Minimum 3 to 5 years.
Okay. So, when it comes to opportunities for women sports stars in the brand ambassadorship field, then again the topic will revolve around cricket, because nowadays Smriti Mandhana's name most often pops up. So I know that PV Sindhu and Saina Nehwal, they were all in the reckoning a few months back, but a few years back maybe, but they are a little bit off the sheen nowadays. And in the case of Manu Baker also comes with lot of popularity nowadays. But it's not sure whether what will happen to Manu Baker after a period of 1 or 2 years. Because take the case of Abhinav Bindra. Abhinav Bindra was the first Olympic gold medalist for India, but still we haven't seen him in any advertisements, even if he has made history by winning the first gold medal. What is your take on that?
Yeah, I agree with you. The point is this: in India, each and every brand, what they are expecting? They are expecting each and every athlete should be visible throughout the year. Okay. If you want throughout the year athlete visibility, it means cricket is the only sports it's available, right? From WPL to bilateral series to World Cups to keep on happening for men's cricket and women's cricket, right? So that's the reason brands wanted visibility, right? That the other thing is what you rightly mentioned on the badminton, which is BWF happens throughout the year. So the badminton player is also getting attractive on this, right? Neeraj Chopra is a impact player. I can name as an impact player because what he has done, he has created a history to get a Olympics gold medal. This time also, before he getting into Olympic, everyone knows he's definitely going to get a medal. He has done it also. So he is an impact athlete. So that's the reason he got a lot of brand association. For example of shooting or wrestling or boxing, weightlifting, it's not happening regularly. It's not happening throughout the year, right? It happens only for Asian Games or Commonwealth Games or Olympics whenever it's happening. So that particular time, when you're associating with them, visibility. So the visibility is a problem. That's the reason those guys mentioned you. The other sports they are also started getting a bit more. Possibly we can see it in the last 2 years. Because from Asian Games also India are 100%. So the sports in India is growing. Possibly
Yeah. So what is the role of personal branding in this? Because you agreed that most of these players are not coming into the limelight because of lack of personal branding. Maybe it seems that in Europe and US, personal branding plays a bigger role among sports stars. What is your take on that?
So see, the point is this personal each and every they have to work on achieve the goal. You are absolutely right. US and China, UK, they are all personal. They are all working hard to get everything. Yeah, India, they will have to work hard to make it happen. Yeah.
Okay. Well, when picking a brand ambassador, what should be the one single criteria? Whether it should be the brand ambassador should gel with the values of the brand, or the segment in which the brand operates, or whether the brand ambassador should be popular enough to trigger a brand recall. What would be the most important thing?
So my opinion on this is brand ambassador should gel with the brand proposition. Then only it will work. Otherwise, everyone can't be Virat Kohli or Dhoni or Rohit Sharma because they don't require any brand proposition. They are all. If any brand wanted to get into any brand ambassador, and I believe they'll have to gel with the proposition. For example, I can give an example. I don't know. Just I'm giving an example how we should think on this. It's not exactly they are doing it or something. Swiggy Instamart, they are talking about speed delivery. So they should possibly can get Bhuvneshwar Kumar. He's not a very star, but he delivers, right? He delivers fast delivery. Bumrah, possibly those fast bowlers, Shami, for example. Those fast bowlers can associate with Instamart because the brand proposition they're talking about speed. So those fast bowler can associate, for example. If you can say, just to give you another example to you, on TVS Zero Grip, they are talking about tame the turn. That's a communication they are talking about. It's all about turn the ball. Okay, possibly Kuldeep is not a star in terms of brand ambassador. I'm saying not in terms of performance. Ravindra Jadeja or Ashwin, they are all turn the ball, right? So those brands definitely should associate with those kind of bowlers. So definitely when you are communicating, okay, when Swiggy Instamart is talking about fastest delivery, when they are saying Bumrah or Shami or Bhuvneshwar Kumar, the brand proposition definitely should meet. So what I'm saying, we should have gel with the brand ambassador. So not everyone is not like Virat Kohli or Dhoni.
Okay, great views, Venkat. My next question is to Akriti. Akriti, the book written by Sachin Tendulkar, Playing It My Way, has sold almost 1 lakh copies in 1 week, and it has registered its own records in its own terms. Okay, so but when it comes to the books of of Mary Kom or Sania Mirza, like Unbreakable or Ace Against Odds by Sania Mirza, what is the status of their efforts? Could you please elaborate on that? Whether the gap that we mentioned between cricket stars and others are still relevant in books also. What is the status?
Yes, unfortunately it's there. But what I think I'm proud to say or I'm proud to see is that it's narrowing. When we talk about sports books, it's inevitable that books on cricket and somebody of Sachin's stature will have books that sell in lakhs, continue to be on the bestseller charts, continue to have resonance across audiences, continue to have fans, much after he's retired to, still revere him in the way that he is. As Venkat obviously correctly said, cricket is a national obsession. It is next to religion for Indians, But what also needs to be recorded or, for us to take cognizance of is that Unbreakable by Mary Kom, Ace Against Odds by Sania Mirza. We see a growing interest. We see a growing interest in alternate sports, which can be badminton, tennis, wrestling. We also see a lot of waking up to the fact that there are these female athletes who are doing phenomenally well. And I think I put it down to a few, pointers that are helping with it. First, obviously, is the rise of the female athlete. So your likes of Manu Bhakar, PV Sindhu, Sania Mirza, Mary Kom, Vinesh Fogart, they've all excelled in their sports. The fact that they also have broken societal norms to get where they are, to the fact that they've had to have, a more arduous journey than your normal cricket fan. I'm not saying that, cricketers don't have it tough. I'm just saying for them, the road map, as it were, is slightly more tougher and more harder. There's also a shift in consumer interest. People are looking for other sports. The expansion of perspective, as it were, is growing. People are looking for alternative sports as, mediums of interest. They're also looking somewhere, waking up to the fact that there is this whole other segment that's, working really hard. There's also a rise of alternate leagues. So you have your Pro Kabaddi, your Indian Super League, you have your, badminton leagues. They're all augmenting the fact that there is a rise, in alternate sports.
So that will be reflected in the books as well.
Exactly. So for us as publishers, I think what's happening is that we've obviously seen the gap in the market, as it were. We're jumping on the trends. We're jumping on the fact that we can put the voice and the player and their story across to the readers who are now waking up and are accepting.
Okay. I think, good views are there. I think a lot of youngsters are there in the audience, For their benefit, could you please suggest one single sports book that inspired generations of young athletes?
See, that as a publisher is going to be very tough for me to do. There are multiple. It's waking up to the fact that over the centuries, over the years, we've been publishing lots and lots of books that are not cricket focused. But if you were to ask me my personal favorite, I can still answer that question.
Yeah.
And possibly that will
need not be cricket focused. Yeah.
Yes, and it isn't. It'll actually be Andre Agassi's Open, which HarperCollins had published many years ago. Why that resonates with me, and I would assume with readers alike, would be that it has universality of struggle.
Okay.
It talks about perseverance in the face of adversity, how he's had to, overcome injuries, being dropped out of tournaments, not getting selected. It also has, lots of conversations about mental toughness and resilience. It has conversations and stories of beyond the court. It is relatable. It is raw. It has topics about, what you are and what drives you. It also unflinchingly is an honest account of his life. And it also talks about him post-retirement and his philanthropic activities that he indulges in. So it's like a wholesome read for somebody who genuinely loves sports and who actually, off the court still continues to inspire generations.
And he married another superstar.
Of course. That goes without saying. Steffi Graf is lovely.
So, my next question is, CSR is now getting more relevant in the corporate circles. And, there is opportunity for social impact ambassador because women issues are rising up.
Yeah.
And a woman can be a social impact ambassador. But most brands are, I don't think any brands are looking into it. Actually, a consortium of brands or something can come forward and take up these kind of issues by onboarding a woman ambassador. What do you think?
See, again, unfortunately, it's that two-pronged, double-edged sword of sorts. There is an opportunity for brands to leverage female athletes. Unfortunately, there is commercial mindset also. Brands often prioritize athletes who offer mass appeal, and that unfortunately, by default, sort of goes to cricketers. We do have female athletes who can be, unfortunately brands oftentimes do not want to gamble upon, but are absolute perfect in that sense to be the voice of resilience, the voice of hardship, the voice of overcoming all of those, and actually becoming something, and the star part that they bring with them now. Manu Bhakkar, as Venkat, rightly said, was charging 8 lakh rupees and has, within the span of that 15 days, has jumped to a 1.45 crore deal. There's also undervalued potential here. We need to prioritize athletes who offer more than just what's visible. There has to be authenticity, there has to be credibility, exactly the cornerstone of any CSR initiative.
What could be the one thing that, that extra that female ambassadors can bring in other than star power?
Exactly this. So I will give you examples actually. On a global front, the most basic and the easiest example actually would be that of Serena Williams, who is a very outspoken, who basically supports racial justice, body positivity, and with brands like Nike and Gatorade that she's actually collaborated in the past, she's leveraged those platforms to, propagate these issues. Mary Kom, you mentioned, it comes from a very humble rural background.
Yeah, that's true.
And she continues to teach and promote education and sports on a rural platform for girls still in the in her area. Brands could collaborate and look for those opportunities to, bring a voice to these unsung heroes in a way. Sania Mirza did collaborate with Coca-Cola and Adidas, and she did talk about standing up against societal norms. There are many, many examples, unfortunately not as viral as we'd like to them.
But when we talk about social impact ambassadors, do you think that an woman ambassador onboarded by a brand or a consortium of brands can change the situation or
100%,
better the situation
100%.
of women in India?
100%.
It can happen. That is what you believe in. Okay.
We just need to have an open mind.
Okay. Great. My next question is to Kurian.
Hi, thank you all.
Kurian comes from a real estate background. So my question is, even after retirement, cricket players command a hefty fee. And, we have seen Sachin Tendulkar was a brand ambassador for a real estate brand in Kerala years back, even after his retirement. He has retired almost a decade back. Even MS Dhoni, even after 2 or 3 years of retirement, he's still going strong in the brand endorsement space. What do you think about the future of players like Srijesh, the hockey superstar from Kerala? Will he be able to do that for a long time?
Like Venkat and Akriti told, cricket is a religion in India. So nothing to cover up, that domain wherein the superstars comes up and they dominate the, scenario of the socially influencing, becoming the socially influencing celebrities. Whereas if you take any country in the world, there are, worshipping sports. Like, if you take Latin America, you can see football is a religion. It's not cricket. Where go to Japan and all that, it's a different other sports, right? So Sachin has become something like more than an iconic figure. He has grown more than the sports among the Indians in our country, and that has been well accepted. And post-retirement, he has got involved in a lot of activities, making himself live into the media, becoming, doing a lot of charity, social charity works, involving into a lot of actions, taking a lot of initiatives for the upliftment of the societies. So when you compare with the domain of Srijesh, where in hockey, which is recently, he got accepted because of the Olympics and all that, he has got accepted, and especially he's from Kerala. Many of the Malus knows him. But the way, if he want to reach to the level of Sachin, he may have to do a lot of hard works, getting into the mentorship roles.
After retirement, the hard work.
Post-retirement, he may have to do a lot of activities. Of course, we have got huge respect to him.
Yeah,
but to the level of Sachin, you can't get him to grow. Not only Srijesh, even in the cricket itself. I can see Dhoni, Dravid recently signed up with Salesforce.com, which is a totally different domain. Which Venkat told, every brand and the product which need to be connected to the person who's endorsing it. So that creates a big value for that.
That's really good, Kurian. It shows that government has a role to play. In order to strengthen the sports
India,
like hockey.
because recently I was talking to one doctor. So he was talking about, we launched Chitlapalli Square in Cochin recently. Our chairman, Kochosip Chitlapalli sir, he wanted to encourage wellness among the society. So with that kind of an idea, he launched 150 crores invested Chitlapalli Square. What happened is, one doctor happened to discuss in dialogue with us, and he was telling in India, people see sports as not as a they treat it in a different. The priority is to the academics. Where in Europe and other countries, people treat sports as one of the most one of the most important things there in their life. In Australia, if the child is, when the child reaches at 8th standard, and if they don't qualify the swimming, they can't go to the next level. So that's the kind of importance that other countries give to the public that has not till developed in our countries. That also plays a big role, what it tells.
Great insights, Kurian. So now let's move to experiential marketing for some time, because you are from a real estate background, and so you may be able to answer it better. Okay, when it comes to experiential marketing, what comes first? Whether it is high quality service or customized products or just discounts? What matters more in experiential marketing?
See, experiential marketing, its importance is increasing in today's world very, very much, because we all are living in a digital world, right? And many people, my friends who are sitting here from the print media and all that, they always, when they come and talk to me, they tell the digital campaign, the social media is coming up, so the print advertisements are getting affected. So the role of experiential marketing comes there. See, if we all want to survive in the industry, the experiential marketing plays a big role. The connect with the human connect is getting lost in this digital world. So rightly what you said, when I talk about experiential marketing, where you're trying to give experience to the customers, that's what the main objective of that kind of campaign, right?
Yes.
So where you're planning to give an experiential marketing, the priority is definitely
Service.
for the quality of the product and the service. Then comes the next thing.
Discounts.
Discounts is last. The service, kind of things. Then the discount is the last. You can take a ratio of 50% to the quality of the products, where the customer can experience the quality of the product. 30% maybe for the service what you want to deliver. 20% the last element can be provided for the discounts, because discounts you have to play without affecting your brand. So that's the thing.
I understand. While planning for experiential marketing, what should be considered more? Is it an ROI kind of stuff, or is it there for the long term? How do you view things?
See, while considering it is in experiential marketing, ROIs comes definitely important factor. But if you're too much focused into the ROI, then that's not, the purpose is not met there. It's about the long term. Like the term itself is experiential marketing. You are trying to give experience to the customer by showcasing your product superiority and giving some kind of experience which the customer can carry forward in their home or back and recollect your brand and then come back to your brand and invest in that. A person representing the real estate industry, this plays a big role, because we give very much importance to the experiential marketing, because it's high value ticket items. Wherein it's not like a car a customer is buying.
Yeah.
Car you can change in every 3 years. Where investing in home, it's a lifetime savings, and the customer gives too much value for it. So we give very much importance to the experiential marketing, wherein customer comes and feels the product, and they build trust from our interactions. We evaluate it. And if I look into the ROI and stringent into the things what I have to do, and some hanky-panky things, that my purpose will not meet there. Okay. So the answer is there itself. You need to play long term. You should have a long term goal, where you should try to give the experience a proper kind of the brand requirement things to be placed that way.
Oh, understand. Okay, how do you measure the audience engagement? Is it only through the social media when it comes to experiential marketing? How do you measure the engagement?
No, it's not like that. It's social media have generated a lot of tools, for assessment. But in experiential marketing, very well you can assess the thing. For example, we happened to participate recently. The main sponsor, the Hindus, property expo, which they organized, where they did it very well. That's what the other brands also should learn from them. For example, I'm quoting here, because they did a big, good, back-end work of connecting to the customers. Where in Lulu they organized, for the property builders, a customer interaction platform, and we placed our products and put up our stalls and everything. The kind of customers who visited in that platform were really good. Since it was Lulu, we all thought, there are a lot of floating populations. Very well, every day lakhs of people are visiting Lulu. So we were in a little bit of apprehension that it won't work. We'll have to face a lot of, hanky-panky customers who just drop in and, just do the window shoppings and all that. So what we happened to see that since they did the good back work, we got good quality customer leads, and we strike the sales also of 1.5 crores apartment. We were able to close from there. Our interaction with the customers were so good, and it gives a scenario how an experiential marketing plays. You need to put it across where you can make it up in a good way.
Great, Quidian. Okay. Recently, PVR, in association with Zomato, has revolutionized the experiential marketing space in places like Gurgaon. Akriti might be knowing, she's from Delhi. So, they allow food delivery in theater halls. That is what, Zomato and PVR came into an agreement. There is an opportunity for real estate also to come up with such innovations. Can you specify some innovations in the real estate space?
Definitely, it's a brand win-win situation where PVR and Zomato is both of them trying to influence customers. Like in real estate also, we are using VR technology. We are trying to give if the open land is or the construction is not made, then customer wanted to see from the 7th floor what is the view. That is possible today. So we are giving that kind of an opportunity for the customer through the technological support, mass emailing, connecting through them the digital contacts and all that. So there are a lot of avenues where, the same way we can play in real estate also, where you can influence the customers.
So it means that data and analytics has played a big part in improving the conversion rates and the quality of leads.
Yes.
Okay, definitely. So how much percentage it might have increased the efficiency of leads or the conversion?
See, the more you are getting into the data, the more in-depth, micro level you are getting into the customers, your striking ratio of business is going to be very high. In our case, it has increased to the 75% to 80% of right striking ratio, where our sales are jumped up 3 or 4 folds compared to the last 3-4 years by the adaptation of. And every year we are improving. We are trying to micro drilling our data and trying to reach to the right targets with the right spend. So the right way of data analysis helps you to spend on the right way. And your budget
compared to earlier, so the conversion rate has almost doubled. Or?
Yes.
Okay, so some brands are actually trying to democratize experiential marketing by organizing live shows and and through sampling. Will that be viable in the long run for the brands?
Definitely, because sampling and data analysis will definitely help, because that gives an insight for you to plan your future and understand your customers' swing and taste towards your brand. So that helps a lot.
So Venkat, my next question is to you. Please allow me to ask this question because Red Bull and Nike these are some international brands, and Red Bull always go after adventurous advertisements, and Nike always stand for a cause which is not at all conservative in nature. But when it comes to Indian brands, most of the Indian brands are very much conservative in nature. When they want to say something, they don't prefer to. They will always say in a very simple manner, or something which is not at all affecting the emotions of the government or anybody who is in the role. So what is your take on that? Is it because of the cultural influence, or what could be the reason?
The reason is same what you rightly said. They don't want to take a communicate. They want to not take any stand and communicate in India. But at the same time, right now, some brands, what they are doing, they are taking responsibility of the sports. For example, Orissa government, what they have done, they have taken a responsibility of hockey. Today, they are associated with the hockey like past 5-6 years. Now you can see how India is performing on hockey. Bridgestone, I remember, they have taken a responsibility of right now on the wrestlers, basically. They have done a tie-up with JSW, so they are doing, session with them to, giving full support to those guys to make the sport well. So now India, they are all doing something like this. Now the brand, what they like to do, they like to take a responsibility of the sports, because what you rightly said, in globally, Red Bull and all taking, stand on doing and and all. But India, they are right now, they are not taking stand, but they like to take the and make this happen.
Let's hope that will happen in India soon. Yeah. So another thing is that in the NBFC space, we have seen NBFC is associating with IPL, a premium property like IPL in cricket, and they onboard ambassadors from the film field. It means integration of sports and entertainment. Is that the right way to go? Because, sports personalities more relate with the common man, right? NBFC's customer audience would be the common man. The sports personalities more relate to the common man because they stand for commitment, discipline and all. But film stars always have that, larger than life kind of, they become superstars because of the larger than life characters. And is that the right way to go? Even though integration is there.
So see, we need to see the objective of the campaign. Okay, their objective is to reach more people. They have used IPL as a platform. So it's not necessary they need to use sports ambassador to put it in IPL, right? The objective is very, what they want to do. So Jio Cinema, they got 12 languages, right? So Jio Cinema has reached corner to corner, today in India. And Star Sports also got a lot of regional language feeds also there. But NBFC's objective is to reach, people. It's not, they wanted to associate with cricket. Not like Dreams 11. Dreams 11 is contextually, they love to create a cricketers commercial because it's all about playing game, right? NBFC is not required to do a cricketer ambassador. What is brand ambassador role? They have to shape up the brand identity and recall of the brand.
I agree with your point, but whether you can create an emotional connect if the person who comes as a brand ambassador has a larger than life figure or larger than life kind of trait,
But IPL is all about what? IPL is all about cricket and entertainment, right? So it definitely will work there, this emotional connectivity.
Okay, one last, Shankar already warned us twice, one last question. See, when it comes to ambassadorship, there are a lot of discussions are now going on related to, whether ambassadors should be accountable for the mistakes of the brand. What's your take on that,
I don't think so, I agree. Because brand ambassadors, they're all not responsible for the brand's problem, right? They have to see the law and all. How can they put a blame on the brand ambassador? They're all their duty to come and, communicate what they want to
communicate. They need to study the brand better, right? What the brand do, whether they are doing it the right. They should also have some kind of audit.
No, they do. It's not that any brand ambassador, they don't take any brand as it is, okay? They do a lot of study on this, what the brand has done and everything. But at the same time, it's like after doing all the, communication that happened, they started creating an issue. It's not the, problem of the brand ambassador. It's a company problem. Company should have all the law in place.
Thank you. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, Shankar, thanks a lot for helping us involve in this. Thanks a lot. Okay. For your support.
Yes, I thank you, and I request you to be on the stage. And now I invite Ms. Pooja Srivastava from Chrome to please come onto the stage to give away mementos to the team. Yes, thank you. Now you can post for a group photo with Ms. Pooja and everyone. Please join. Thank you so much. And now I request. So we are done with. Yes, we are done with South India Media Summit Season 5. Hope you all had a great day, and you all enjoyed. Hope you all enjoyed all the sessions and discussions. And at this moment, I would like to express a heartfelt gratitude to each and everyone. A special thanks to all the sponsors and partners for your commitment and support. And myself, I'm Chitra Pai. I'm also signing off. Thank you. And let's race for the national anthem, please. And Bharat Mata ki. Can we have one Jaikar for South India Media comment? Yes? Yes? Yes. South India Media Summit ki. Jai. Thank you. And yes, all 4-dimensional media solution team, may I request you to come on the stage for a group photography session. Thank you.